This is Protiviti Legal Perspectives.
Well, welcome to the Protiviti Legal Perspectives podcast series. I'm Chad Volkert, your host and also Global Solution Leader here at Protiviti. I'm pleased to welcome today Steve Barron, Managing Director for Protiviti Legal Consulting, to our program. Steve, welcome to the show. And maybe before we jump into a couple of different questions, can you share a bit about your expertise and your background with our listeners?
Certainly. Thank you, Chad. And thanks very much for inviting me to join. I guess it goes back about 25 years at the beginning of my career. I've been working in the legal space for just about all of it. My early days were steeped in the world of e-discovery and document review. I joined the firm about 13 years ago and have seriously enjoyed my time here and watching the evolution of our team, of the firm overall, but certainly our team as we've grown, expanded, evolved, et cetera, over the years. Most of that has come through growth, and all of that has been organic, in trying to meet our clients' needs across the board. And so it's been a wild ride. It's certainly not over. We're in a nice place right now in terms of what the team is doing and the various segments within our solution that we're supporting. But certainly I look forward to the future and that ever expanding group that we call legal consulting.
Maybe share with our listeners how your specialized legal expertise, but also Protiviti's, can be and is valuable for companies and their outside counsel when dealing with complex legal challenges.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. This industry, most people would probably look at the legal industry and not think that there's a tremendous amount of innovation and evolution that's occurred. That is absolutely not the case. This is an ever-changing business. And being here at Protiviti has allowed us to sort of evolve and change with it. When we speak to clients, most of the time, as we're talking about where they are and where they need to be and what the roadmap looks like in terms of how we get them there or how they need to get there, they're not always thinking about what may be, mind-boggling innovation in this industry, where we might be able to leverage technology to create efficiencies, where we might be able to allow our clients to, focus on their day-to-day roles while still ensuring that things are being done on time, on budget. They've got reporting and audit trails to support that, and that most importantly, it's being done correctly. The ability to supply our clients with expertise, whether those are through the Robert Half contract arm, or whether those are through our own subject matter experts at Protiviti, or a blend, which often is the case. That is something that is our clients will typically come to us for. What they are getting in it, oftentimes that might be a surprise to new clients, but certainly not our current ones, is some of the oversight, the quality control, the reporting metrics, and all the things that we are able to do for them that allows them to focus on their day-to-day, knowing that things are under control. The other thing that, the other piece I think that is worth mentioning is technology. Innovations and changes in technology have turned this industry upside down. And whether that is related to a transaction, a merger, acquisition, or divestiture, whether that's related to a litigation or investigation, or frankly, whether it's just good housekeeping with a company that has a regulatory focus and needs to make sure that their house is in order, we have come in and been able to offer those innovative solutions and not just, a one size fits all, but understanding what their needs are and then helping them build a plan by leveraging the complements of technology, expertise, and experience, as well as, of course, the arms and legs that they're going to need to actually get the execution of the work done.
Well, and that's just a great point, Steve, in and around innovation, right? We hear that word thrown around a lot, not only within legal departments, but across enterprises. Maybe go a little deeper there, Steve, and talk about how Protiviti can offer some different innovative delivery models for companies or law firms that can really drive insights and efficiencies.
Yeah, the options are many and varied. it really does come down to, and this is why, we don't just want to throw pricing over the bow or a proposal over the bow, because one size simply does not fit all. If we're talking to a bank, which we often are, or if we're talking to a healthcare company, those are two big industries that we focus in. Their needs could be wildly different than one another, even if they both have a litigation that they're focused on. And so understanding what the needs are and then coming to them with solutions, whether that is, again, I talked about the arms and legs piece, whether that is contractors, whether those are members of our full-time bench that we've hired through good work that they've been able to prove over, many engagements that we've had them on, whether those are other directors and managing directors from our full-time Protiviti team. The people that are actually executing on the work can be different. And depending on the timeline, the complexity, the location, and a lot of other variables that come into play can often depend on the type of solution that we're recommending. That's not including technology. And technology can play a tremendous role. But again, the type of technology and whether or not we offer technology to create efficiencies can vary depending on, again, many of those factors that I just named before. If it's a 2-week process, then leveraging TAR or machine learning modules that we're able to bring to bear may not be the right fit for that scenario. It might just be a manual lift. One that we come in with, here's where we are, here's where we need to be, and let's build that roadmap on how we're going to get there along with our clients and in line with their budgets. Understanding some of those variables is often going to help drive the solution that we ultimately recommend. But options is something that our clients always like, and so there is typically the recommended option that we will present to our client, but then additional options, that might be important to them to consider either now for this opportunity that we're talking with them about, or this effort and need that we're talking to them about. Or for downstream ones that they may want to consider for.
Well, and that's very helpful, I think, to the listeners, mentioning this tailored approach, multiple options as you're scoping an engagement for a client, utilizing their resources they may have internally, maybe their technology as well that many companies are not using to their fullest. And you did mention technology a couple times. It's sort of like the analogy, a Ferrari is a fantastic car, but if you don't know how to drive it, it's not going to take you anywhere, right? And I think part of what you bring to the table, Steve, and the team brings is knowledge about how to use the systems, how to use technology, how to work through different workflows to create efficiencies for the client. Maybe share with the listeners as far as what they should be considering if I'm sitting in a in-house counsel seat or in a law firm and thinking about outside legal resources or experts or alternative legal service type providers, what are a few tips that they should be considering when thinking about hiring that type of expertise?
Yeah. Well, again, I think that list can be many, right? Obviously, experience is one that we want to draw upon. Our clients who we've worked with in the past or who have worked with other solutions within the enterprise. Those are obviously great testimonials to be able to say, hey, not only can we do this work, but we've done this work for you in the past. We might want to, put this different spin on it or different angle on it, depending on, the complexities of this particular need. But leveraging experience and the trust that is built through that experience, that's second to none. So hopefully that's in place. And if it's not in place, then there's a lot of other factors that the clients often will want to consider. One would be geography, and I would say in no particular order, but one would certainly be geography. A lot of companies are global in their presence. And oftentimes if there's an investigation, if there's a litigation, if there is a transaction, being on the ground in one of these foreign countries where they may have an entity that's sitting, that can be a huge plus, not just from a cost standpoint, but from understanding the local rules and regulations, from a data privacy and cybersecurity standpoint. There's a lot of things that need to be considered, especially when we're talking about a global a global need that a client is going through. Another piece that, obviously should be considered is flexibility, right? Can the solution be adaptable to a client's specific needs? And we really do strive to make sure that every solution that we tailor, though we have a process, right, and we leverage that process over and over and over again, how we sort of manipulate it to ensure that we're meeting the client's needs, to your point, to accommodate their own teams or their own process or already in place investments, which is typically a big area that clients will appreciate when they're working with us. We do our best to make sure that we're doing that to keep not just costs down, but keep things moving, in a quick
Sure.
and efficient way. Yeah.
Well, those are great insights. Maybe share with us one or two client engagement stories to really help our audience get a grasp of all of the moving pieces that you've talked about.
We've been working with a global pharmaceutical company for almost 10 years now. The company had initially come to us because they were going through a divestiture. They were divesting themselves of actually a medication at that time. This was work that we were doing that they initially reached out to us because they needed some folks who spoke Italian and spoke Spanish so that we can help them with due diligence. When we spoke with them about it, we recognized that there was a process that they were using where they were leveraging an online deal room, which is typical, but online deal rooms are extremely limited in their ability to manipulate or leverage data where you can enter in keywords and basically get to what you're trying to get to in a very easy way. And so as we were speaking with the client, we very quickly realized that they would benefit from our hosted platform, which would allow for that sort of customization of documentation, and would allow reviewers and the reviewers that we had in place the ability to move very quickly to what it is that they're looking for, and then escalate it to the client for their feedback and approval. That process was about, as I mentioned, 10 years ago. The client loved it. And since then, we've probably had 2 transactions with them a year since that time. This company has become one of our greatest clients, and we're helping them not just with divestitures, but also acquisitions, not just with medications, but also with locations and other entities that they've actually swallowed up and then divested themselves from over the years. But we've followed that model where we've been able to not just leverage their own deal room, but leverage our own tools so that we can make their deal a little bit more powerful, allow their attorneys, both outside counsel, both in-house attorneys and co-counsel, right, all with unique views into the documents that the corporate client has allowed them to have views into, to provide feedback and quality control all along the way. And so leveraging technology in that scenario made it a very valuable process for the client. But frankly, leveraging the expertise that our team has now gleaned with them over the last 10 years has made it has made our ability to rinse and repeat that solution very, very strong. And in the client's eyes, there's nobody that they're going to go to for this type of work other than us, which is exactly what we want.
Well, it's a great example of how Protiviti and the legal practice partners with in-house counsel, the business owners of an organization that may be going through this type of acquisition, outside counsel, to create efficiencies through improved processes and procedures with expertise that neither the corporation nor the law firm may have, and really add a third leg to the stool, so to speak, to make sure that that engagement goes off without a hitch and, quite frankly, is smoother than they would have on their own. I'm just wondering about timing. Is there a right time, a wrong time to call you, bring Protiviti in? Maybe share with us a little bit of your thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give a cliche answer, which is the earlier the better. And the reason isn't a selfish one. The reason is the earlier we're brought in and have an understanding as to maybe what the strategy is, what the timelines might look like, and frankly, where things are in the infancy of the effort that the clients are kind of girding up and getting ready for is crucial. We're fine. And of course, they can bring us in at any point in the process, and we will adapt accordingly based on what's been done and what still needs to be done. But the earlier that we're brought in, we often are able to offer ideas around our best practices our experience in terms of how you might want to circumnavigate, especially when we're early days of the data, how you might want to circumnavigate around the data collection and what you want to do with that data so that it's in as ready a state as it can be before the actual manual effort of the work that maybe the client reached out to us initially, has to occur. And so if we're able to do that, there's oftentimes efficiencies that we can create, whether those are targeted collections, whether those are following a process in terms of finding the information that the clients are looking for to then parse through and review it manually after the fact, or whether it's leveraging machine learning in order to help a machine through statistically relevant data sets that they're able to come up with, actually put the data in front of reviewers, in front of our team, and in front of the client that's usable. And so oftentimes we're able to save money, save a tremendous amount of time, and make the process overall more efficient if we're brought in early by being able to make those recommendations. But again, if we're brought in the middle or even on the end to help clean up, it's not ideal, but it's something that happens to us all of the time, and we're very flexible around our solutioning in that regard as well.
It's a great point, Steve. And just a reminder to our listeners, we are not a technology company. We use technology, the best technology that's out there, as an enabler. So that's also interesting to your point, Steve, that the ability to use technology and have experts over that technology at a very minimal cost compared to going directly to a technology company allows us to create additional efficiencies and cost savings the earlier that we are involved in scoping and providing a solution in tandem with our clients. So great feedback, Steve. Thanks. It's been a great discussion. Please take a look at our Protiviti website, www.protiviti.com. There is just a ton of thought leadership and industry-specific content, not only for legal, but across all of our various solutions like risk and compliance, IT, business performance, audit, etc. And feel free to reach out to me at any point.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you for listening today. Find other episodes of Protiviti Legal Perspectives on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast content. And to learn more about Protiviti's legal consulting services, visit protiviti.com.